Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I don't own the rights to that music. I want to just welcome you. I'm Prophetess Tammy Tibbs Codwell, and you have tuned in to the Psalms Experience. We're on day 35, Psalms 35 tonight, and I'm going to just dive right in. Then welcome, and this will be replaying too as well. So if you want to share it with someone, you can share it with them and have them to go back and look at it. So Psalms 35 is raw, bold, and prophetic. David cried out for God's justice when enemies was rising against him. This chapter will give us an opportunity and also show us how to be bold when we feel unjust, when we are being handled by enemies and adversaries, or when you feel like you're under attack. So, Psalms 35 is the God fights for righteousness. Have you ever been falsely accused or attacked? Psalms 35 shows us how David cried out to God when his enemies had rised up against him. So, thank you for journeying with me through this Psalms. Tonight, we're back here at this Psalms 35, where David doesn't hold back. He cries out to God to fight against those who fight against him. If you're dealing with somebody fighting against you, just stay tuned. He prayed for protection, for justice, and for God's name to be honored through his deliverance. This Psalms teaches us that we can bring our pains and our struggles and even our cries for justice straight to God. The author of Psalms 35 is David. So, my theme tonight is God is the defender of his people. Let God defend you against your enemies. Now, when enemies rise, we don't fight in our flesh, we cry out to God. We don't fight with our natural being. You don't have to. Just have faith in God and trust God. Like David is showing us that he took his problems to God. He took his complaint against his enemies to God. Now, the next thing, vindication belongs to God. Let God do it. Now, I have 6 points about Psalms 35. And number one, prayer for God's defense in verse 1 through 3. He was asking God to fight against his enemies. Now, what you have to learn from this is that you have to let God do the fighting. Okay. Number two, confusion for the wicked. He asked God in verse 4 and 8, let those who seek harm fall into their own trap, whatever they dig. You know, the Bible says if you dig a ditch for somebody, you are digging it for yourself. Haman in the book of Esther, he set up a gallop for Mordecai, and he ended up getting hanged on it. Okay. So whatever you dig for somebody, especially if they righteous, you digging it for yourself. Number three, promises of praise in verse 9 and 10. David vows to rejoice in the Lord's deliverance. Number four, a complaint against false witness in verse 11 through 16. Enemies repay good for evil. Okay. So have you ever just seen somebody that an enemy would typically try to do something to you and call it a repayment back? David shows here that enemies repay good with evil. It's a lot of that going on today. Number five, cry for vindication in verse 17 through 28, asking God not to stay silent, but to defend his servant. Because sometimes when you're going through things, you like, God, where are you? I need you. You praying. God is not responding like humanity. He is from divinity. God is a God of timing. God operates on his own time frame. He's looking at the situation. If you think God is not watching and looking, he's El Roi, the God that sees. He knows everything. You know, at the end of the day, David was dealing with common enemies. He had Saul just attacking him with his rage and envy of him. Okay. So, and he decided, I'm not going to fight you. I'm going to let God deal with you and me. And God end up judging between the two of them. Okay. If you're going to pray about something, just like David was dealing with another believer. If you're dealing with believers like David, hey, you got to let God judge them because they're his kids too. It may not be fair. Let God find them evil. Let God find them wicked. You don't have to point it out. Let him see the wickedness in them, just like David did. Okay, now, closing praise in verse 26 and 28 declared that God delights in the prosperity of his servant. So, the meaning of Psalms 35, it's okay to cry out for justice when you've been wrong.